What if I told you that the most trusted lure in your winter tackle box, the one that's never let you down, is now actively working against you? It sounds crazy, right? But today we're going to uncover a hard truth that most anglers never consider. We're going to talk about why your go-to to can't miss winter lure might actually be useless. And by the end of this video, you'll understand the hidden reason why so many of your fishing spots seem to dry up over time. I promise what you're about to hear will change how you look at your tackle box forever. So let me ask you this right now. Do you believe a lure can simply stop working? Let me know in the comments and let's get into it. Every serious angler has one. That one special lure. Maybe it's a Swedish pimple your dad gave you, or a specific color of jigging wrap that was magic 10 years ago. It's more than just metal and paint. It's a confidence booster. We tie it on without thinking because it holds the memories of past victories. This habit is deeply ingrained in fishing culture. We trust what has worked before. Why wouldn't we? The problem is, the underwater world isn't static. It's a constantly changing environment. Yet we often approach it with the same tools and the same mindset year after year, wondering why the results are fading. We're stuck in a loop, relying on past glory, while the fish have already moved on to the next chapter. Let's start with the trap of the old faithful. Think about that lure. You've had some incredible days with it. Those memories are powerful. They create a strong emotional bond. When you're on the ice and the bite is tough, what do? You reach for what you trust. It's human nature. This isn't a fishing decision anymore. It's a psychological one. You're not just choosing a piece of tackle, you're choosing comfort and familiarity. The very act of tying it on makes you feel like you have a better chance, even before it hits the water. But confidence doesn't catch fish if the lure itself has become a liability. This emotional connection is the first and biggest hurdle to overcome. It blinds you to the reality of what's happening below the ice. You're fishing with your heart, not with your head. And that, my friends, is a recipe for a long, fishless day. Now let's talk about memory bias. When you think about that favorite lure, you instantly recall the banner days, the 50-plus perch days, the trophy walleye that came through the ice at sunset. Your brain conveniently filters out all the other times, the dozens of trips where that same lure produced nothing. We remember the wins and forget the losses. This is called confirmation bias. We look for evidence that supports our belief that this lure is the best, and ignore the growing mountain of evidence to the contrary. If you kept a detailed log, you might be shocked to find that your magic lure actually has a success rate of less than 20% over the last 3 seasons. But you don't remember the data. You remember the feeling of that one giant fish. This selective memory keeps you tied to an underperforming asset, wasting valuable time on the ice that you'll never get back. This brings us to a critical concept: lure pressure. What is it really? It's not just about a lot of people fishing a lake. It's about the fish becoming educated. Imagine you're a perch in a popular community spot. Every single weekend from December to March, you see the same flashing, rattling object drop down from above. The first few times it looks like an easy meal, but then you see your buddies get yanked into the sky after eating one, or you get caught and released yourself. Fish, especially older, larger ones, learn to associate that specific sight, sound, and vibration with danger. Your go-to lure, once a unique and enticing offering, has become the equivalent of a loud, obvious burglar alarm. It's not triggering a feeding response anymore. It's triggering a flight response. They see it and they bolt. Let's dig deeper into that idea of visual conditioning. Fish have better eyesight than many people give them credit for, especially in clear water. Think about the most popular lure colors and shapes on your local lakes: fire tiger, perch patterns, chartreuse. For years, these were killers. Why? because they stood out and they mimicked natural forage. But now, thanks to the internet and big box stores, everyone is throwing the exact same thing. The fish on that lake have seen thousands of identical number 5 jigging wraps. They've learned that this specific shape and color combination means danger. It's no longer a convincing meal, it's a well-known threat. It's like if every deer hunter in the woods wore the same bright red hat. The deer would eventually learn that the red hat means danger is near. Your lure is that red hat. It's not just about what they see, it's also about what they hear. Many classic winter lures have a distinct sound, the rattle of a ripping wrap, the dull thud of a lead spoon hitting the bottom. In the beginning, these sounds were a dinner bell. They attracted curious fish from a distance, signaling a potential meal. But after years of hearing that same rattle, followed by their cousin disappearing, the fish adapt. The sound that once meant food now means danger. I've seen it on my underwater camera countless times. I'll drop a popular rattling lure down the hole, and every fish within 10 feet will scatter. The sound has been conditioned into an alarm. Your once deadly sound signature is now just clearing the area of any fish smart enough to have survived a few seasons. Here's something most people completely overlook: the evolving forage base. The primary food source in a lake can change dramatically over a decade. Maybe 10 years ago, your lake was full of small yellow perch, and your perch-patterned lure was a perfect match. But what if an invasive species like the spiny water flea has decimated the zooplankton, causing the perch population to crash? And now the main forage for walleye is emerald shiners or ciscos. Your old perch pattern is no longer relevant. You're trying to sell them a burger when all they want to eat is steak. You have to adapt to what the fish are actually eating now, not what they were eating when your favorite lure was in its prime. It's a simple case of matching the hatch, but the hatch has changed and you haven't. Water clarity is another huge factor. Thanks to things like zebra mussels or changes in agricultural runoff, a lake that was stained a decade ago might be crystal clear today. In that stained water, a bright, gaudy, rattling lure was essential for getting noticed. But in today's ultra-clear water, that same lure looks unnatural and intimidating. The fish can see it from 20 feet away and immediately recognize it as a fake. In these new conditions, a more subtle, natural-looking lure with no rattle would be far more effective. You're still using the tactics for a low-visibility environment in a high-visibility world. It's like wearing sunglasses at night. It used to make sense, but the conditions have changed, and your approach is now completely wrong for the situation. We have to talk about the internet effect. 20 years ago, if a guy found a hot new lure or technique, that secret might stay within his small circle of friends for years. But today, a single YouTube video or a post on a fishing forum can expose a secret lure to tens of thousands of anglers in a single weekend. Suddenly, that unique lure that the fish had never seen before is being dropped down every 5th hole on the lake. The education process for the fish is accelerated exponentially. A lure's lifespan of being new and different has gone from years to a matter of weeks. The very technology we use to share information is the same technology that's burning out our best lures faster than ever before. Your secret weapon isn't a secret anymore. Here's a tough pill to swallow. The lure you bought last week is probably not the same as the one you bought in 1995, even if it has the same name on the package. Companies get sold, manufacturing moves overseas, materials change to cut costs. That perfect flutter on your favorite spoon might have been the result of a specific thickness of metal from a specific supplier that is no longer used. The plastic in your jig might be harder, changing its sound underwater. The paint might have a slightly different UV signature. These are tiny, almost imperceptible changes to us, but to a fish that inspects a potential meal from inches away, they can be the difference between a bite and a refusal. You're not fishing the same lure, you're fishing a modern, cost-engineered imitation of it. The decline of a great lure is rarely a sudden event. It doesn't just stop working overnight. It's a slow, gradual fade. The first season, you catch a little less. You blame the weather. The next year, the bites are fewer and farther between. You blame a bad year class of fish. The year after that, you're only catching small, dumb ones. You start to think the big ones have moved out. You make excuses because you don't want to admit the truth. Your champion is past its prime. It's like a great athlete getting old. They can still have a good game here and there, which reinforces your belief, but they can't dominate like they used to. You're holding on to the ghost of a great lure, celebrating the occasional catch while ignoring the consistent pattern of failure. Let me give you a real-world example. I used to fish a lake where a certain small, gold-plated spoon was absolute dynamite for crappies. For about 5 years, it was unstoppable. Everyone knew it. The local bait shop couldn't keep them in stock. Then, slowly, it started to fade. We all had our theories. But one day, I dropped an underwater camera down. What I saw was amazing. A school of crappies would come in. As soon as that gold spoon started to flutter down, they would literally part like the Red Sea. They wouldn't just ignore it. They would actively move away from it. They had learned through years of pressure that this specific object was the ultimate threat. I switched to a plain tungsten jig with no flash and immediately started getting bites from the same fish. The spoon had become a fish repellent. This leads to the confidence paradox. We always say confidence in your lure is key. And it's true to a point. When you believe in your lure, you fish it more effectively. You stay focused, you pay attention to your line, and you impart the right action. The question is, which comes first? Does the lure catch fish because it's good, or does it catch fish because your confidence makes you a better angler? The paradox is that this same confidence can trap you. You have so much faith in the lure that you refuse to change, even when all the evidence says you should. You'll spend 6 hours jigging a dead lure with perfect technique, while the guy 50 yards away is catching them on something totally different. Your confidence has become a blinder, preventing you from adapting and finding what's actually working today. Think about the community hole problem. Every lake has them. The well-known spots that are easy to access and always have a cluster of shacks. These spots are ground zero for lure pressure. On any given Saturday, the fish in that spot might see hundreds of the same 3 or 4 popular lures. It's an intense, concentrated education program. If your Old Faithful is a mainstream lure, you can bet it's being used heavily in these areas. While it might still work on a remote backwards lake with little pressure, it's likely been rendered completely ineffective on the most popular bodies of water. You're taking a tool that works on uneducated fish and trying to use it on the most highly educated pressured fish in the entire system. It's a losing battle from the moment your lure hits the water. Let's be honest, modern technology plays a huge role here. With today's electronics, live scanning sonar, detailed mapping, underwater cameras, we are far more efficient at finding and catching fish than ever before. This also means we are educating them faster. We can see a fish react to our lure in real time. We see them approach, hesitate, and turn away. This is invaluable information. If you're still just staring at a spring bobber, you have no idea what's happening down there. You don't see the 20 fish that inspected your magic lure and rejected it. You only feel the one dumb one that finally bit. Ignoring the feedback from modern electronics is like trying to navigate a new city without a map. you're missing most of the story and making decisions based on incomplete and often misleading information. We all love the classic wisdom passed down from older generations. The "it worked for Grandpa" fallacy is a powerful one. Your grandfather might have hammered walleyes on a specific lure and technique, but he was fishing in a different world. He was likely fishing a lake with a fraction of the fishing pressure, a different forage base, and clearer or dirtier water. The fish were uneducated, his methods were perfectly suited for his time. Simply copying his approach without understanding the modern context is a mistake. It's a tribute to the past, but it's not an effective strategy for the present. We need to respect the old ways but not be chained by them. The best anglers honor tradition but adapt with the times. So how do you know for sure if your favorite lure is dead? You have to run a simple, honest experiment. Next time you go out, dedicate the first hour to your old faithful. Fish it hard in a good spot. Then, for the second hour, switch to something completely different, something new or something you haven't used in years, maybe a lure with a different shape, sound, or color profile. And here's the key: be brutally honest with the results. Don't make excuses. If the new lure outfishes the old one 3-1, that's your answer. You need to gather your own real-time data on your body of water. Stop relying on 20-year-old memories and start making decisions based on what the fish are telling you right now, on this day. The most important question you can ask on the ice is, what are they eating now? It's not about what you want them to eat. Observation is key. Pay attention when you catch a fish. Does it spit anything up in the hole? Are its stomach contents visible? Use an underwater camera to actually look for baitfish. Are you seeing tiny minnows, or are there perch everywhere? Is the bottom crawling with invertebrates? The answer to this question should dictate your lure choice. If the walleyes are spitting up 2-inch shiners, a giant, loud, rattling lure is probably not the best choice. A small, silent spoon that imitates a dying minnow would be a much smarter play. Let the fish and their environment guide your decision, not your tackle box full of old habits. What if you're not ready to give up on an old favorite? Sometimes a small adaptation can bring it back to life. If the original lure is too common, try modifying it. Get out some paint and change the color. Add a different colored teaser hook. Remove the rattles to make it silent, or fish it with a completely different jigging cadence than everyone else. If everyone is doing an aggressive rip and fall, try a slow, subtle lift and shake. These small changes can break the conditioning the fish have. You're presenting them with something that is familiar enough to recognize as food, but different enough to not trigger the danger alarm. You're not changing the lure, you're changing its signature, giving an old dog a brand new trick. Ultimately, this all comes down to the psychology of letting go. It can be hard to put a legendary lure in the retirement box. It feels like a betrayal. But great anglers are not sentimental. They are pragmatic. They use what works. They are willing to bench their star player if he's not performing. Giving up on an old lure isn't an admission of failure. It's a sign of growth as an angler. It shows that you're paying attention, you're willing to adapt, and you're committed to solving the puzzle of the present day, not just reliving the puzzles of the past. It's okay to have fond memories of a lure. Just don't let those memories keep you from making new ones with a different lure tomorrow. So, if the old faithful is dead, how do you find the new one? You have to become an experimenter. Dedicate a portion of every trip to trying something new. Buy lures that look weird, use colors that nobody else is using, try techniques you see online that seem crazy. Your goal is to find the next thing that the fish haven't seen before. The next Old Faithful won't be the most popular lure in the store. It will be the one that's different. It will be the one that breaks the pattern. The process of discovery is part of the fun. The goal isn't to find one magic lure to use for the next 20 years. The goal is to build a diverse arsenal and develop the wisdom to know which tool to use on which day. That is the true mark of a great fisherman. So, let's bring this all together. We've talked about lure pressure, fish conditioning, and our own psychological biases that keep us tied to the past. And here's the biggest takeaway, the real plot twist of it all. The problem is almost never that the fish just aren't biting. The problem is that we are showing them the same old tricks they've seen 1,000 times. Your favorite lure didn't lose its magic. The fish just got smarter. Realizing this is a game changer, it forces you to stop being a passive participant who just hopes for a bite and start being an active predator who thinks, adapts, and experiments. Thank you so much for watching and for being willing to challenge some old ideas. If this video made you think, do me a favor and hit that like button and subscribe for more content that goes beyond the basics. Now, I have a final question for you, and I want you to be honest. After hearing all this, are you willing to go out on your next trip and leave your #1 can't-fail lure in the box for the entire day? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts.